G'day everyone, Turbo Tristan here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are at Sandown Raceway and it's about 10:30. I've already had my run in Ronda. We'll show you the footage from that and the highlights and the lowlights from that. But let's just say I won my session by quite a long way. Ronda was on fire. We're here with Zach Boldy, we've got Chris, we've got Stig, we've got Alex, we've got John. So we've got a full team today. Zach is going to bring it home for the win because he is the man.
What's going on? Don't feel my hair too much. I don't know what I've done. And John's sitting on my hat currently, so she'll be right.
We have a rule. If Zach drives, we have to like somehow get either sweat or vomit or something else
exactly right
on his property.
I just wish the bodily fluids went on to like someone else one day. I feel like it's just on me at the moment. It's not really the greatest, but she'll be right. It's only John. John's done a lot for me, so if I have to wear a butt sweaty hat, I will.
Awesome. So Ronda was flying. I was easily able to pull away from everyone on every straight easily, and even through the corners, but I was kind of cruising the car through the corners because we didn't need to go so fast. As you'll see in the laps, we had an electrical issue. For whatever reason, our battery cable, so the hot one, the positive straight off the brand new battery, wasn't getting volts to the fuse box and all of that. So me, as you guys know, I always say this on the channel, I suck at wiring, I hate electronics, but I came up with the idea to put my booster pack on the fuse box and we managed to start the car and get back out there. So John is out there eating up the competition. I think he's actually cost us a couple of penalties. Bloody hell, John.
We don't think he's able to be timed at the moment because he's doing 33s, 32s, and his next lap will be a 38. So I'm wondering if he's like thinking about it and trying to get like consistent laps but slowing up. So who knows what he's doing. But he smashed a good lap. He did a 132. It's not too bad.
The car's flying and John's flying and he's a cracker driver, but he's costing us penalties. So we put it down to, we have an app on our phone, Draggy. It's kind of like, makes it like Gran Turismo. It gives you your sector times and everything and lets you know if you're going faster or slower than you should be. And I managed to get a 135.07. Someone in the field, we don't know who it is yet, but they did a 135.0002. So back to 4 decimal points, which is crazy. Here comes the pack now, maybe for a restart. Yep, let's go. And there is Ronda. Still under red, so something's happened. I forgot to mention also, we've got our biggest field ever at 13 cars, so we've got 12 cars to beat. And which I was doing that. I think I lapped one Subaru Impreza maybe 5 times minimum, probably 6.
Yep.
The BMW E36 I lapped 4 times, and every other car was between 1 and 3 times lapping. So Ronda was flying.
They're not my gloves.
The Zestinos are awesome. They just grip perfectly, so we can take the corners a lot faster. Not that we need to. We've got to stick to the 135 time. Like I said, Zachy boy has to bring home the win for us because I won my session. We had an electrical issue for John and a timing issue. The other boys each have to crawl back and get some laps back every time, and we should be able to still win it, even though at the moment we're about 10 or 11 laps down. We should be able to get all of those back, confident. This is me early morning. You can see it's nice and frosty, almost, well, foggy at least, and a little bit wet on the track, a little bit damp. Because of the noise restrictions, we couldn't even start the car, so we had to push it to the line. So it's just been fired up, and I'm going to do some warm-up laps. I'm going to try and put some heat into the tyres, even though the track temp is really cold and the engine is really cold. even under the green light, you'll see that I'm just sort of creeping up the temperature gauge and just trying to get the car warmed up. Keep an eye in my rear view mirror. I wasn't paying attention, but there was actually one of the cars, and it turned out to be the car that won the event is in my rear view mirror. 1 minute you can see it, the next minute it just sort of spins out and disappears, and then I look up in my rear view because we're coming onto the back straight and there's no cars behind me. So I had no clue about that because I was just looking in front and just warming everything up. But that's one thing to look out for. Pretty funny. We'll get to the first couple of laps, skip forward ahead to my best laps in car and headset, and then we'll switch over to the other boys and you can see them driving what they were going through. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the sound of Rhonda with her full 3-inch exhaust and elusive headers at full noise at around about 7,400 RPM roughly. Let us know what you think and enjoy the video. actually just finished a safety car session, so red flags out mean you can't go any faster than 80 kilometers an hour, and you definitely can't overtake the cars in front of you. Now, if you have a car in front of you that's doing under 80 kilometers an hour and you're doing 80 kilometers an hour, you will catch that car. So that's kind of what happened here. The car in front was going like sometimes 40, sometimes 60, caught up to that. This was about 5 or 6 laps of going slow, and then I eventually caught up to that, and then the cars behind me were catching up to me, so I think I had the red Celica or something else in my mirrors, maybe the silver one. Then we got the green flag, the green light at the start finish line, and it was off and racing again. I just loved it. It meant I was able to then lap some more cars, but more importantly, just enjoying the fun of overtaking and going past cars on the racetrack. There's nothing like it. I can't recommend it enough. Get out to the racetrack, have a crack, join the budget Enduro, come out and race with us. Everyone's welcome. Any car under 5k budget, let's go, let's send it. We'll jump to the other boys after this. I just wanted to show this bit of footage of me going past a whole bunch of cars, almost the entire field. So enjoy.
Yeah, okay. But every time you turn it off and start it, automatically turns it on, does it?
Oh. Oh, we're flat.
Yeah.
No power, mate.
No power.
Completely dead. Have we done a fuse? I got no ignition. Nothing.
Call for the start of the next section.
I don't think it's that. Look at. Yeah, nothing, Tristan. Got 12.5 volts. Completely dead.
Yeah. So we're up to the fourth session of the day. Chris is going to jump in and drive, or he has jumped in and driven, or driving. Chris is going to jump in and drive. We can't actually turn the car off because there's an electrical issue between our brand new battery and the cable that we've hooked up to it to go to the fuse box and give the car power. It's dropping 11 of its, or it's dropping 12 of its 13 volts. So we have to jump packet off the fuse box. And so we've got about 10-15 minutes before the next session starts. Chris is lined up with the engine running. Our brakes and tyres have been amazing. We haven't had to change pads yet all day today. And the tyres, all we've done is just rotate them front to back because they're directional. We can't do the diagonal swap because that'll chew the tyres out. So it's just front ones to the back, put in fuel, can't turn the car off, and we haven't changed pads yet. Rhonda's feeling amazing, and everyone that's jumped out has said what an improvement in handling she has now with the T7 coilovers from Max Beating, and sounds awesome with our elusive headers, and the 3-inch straight through exhaust with the center exit is stirring up a few people. So yeah, things are going well. We are down about 10 laps though because of that electrical issue. We had to find that. So it's up to the guys now to get those laps back, and hopefully other people muck up and we can get back towards the front. But I think we're currently halfway down the field. So what you've just seen is my laps in Ronda, and also a couple of highlights from the other boys racing in Ronda as well. The order for the day was me going out and doing an hour. I did my hour. I didn't have any issues or hiccups. I managed to keep my laps above the 1 minute 35 every single time. Didn't go under, didn't break out, didn't get a penalty. I'm not sure of the exact count, but I definitely went past at least one or two of the cars more than 3 times. So lapped them, so I was up a couple of laps on some of the cars. I overtook all of the other cars at least once, maybe more than that, but we'll say once. And I feel like I had a perfect stint in the car. It was performing amazingly. We had all of the power on the straights, coasting through the corners, staying well out ahead of the pack, and the new aero was working great, the new tyres were working great, the new headers were sounding amazing, as was the new exhaust also. The brake ducting was also doing its job, and our brake pads, later on you would have found out that they lasted at least 4 sessions, which was absolutely amazing. The way the car was running, I believe we could have probably, maybe if we had to, stretch those brake pads and tyres for the entire 6-hour event, just due to the way we were now driving the car. We didn't have to be so hard on the brakes, and with the brake ducts cooling them down and our tyres providing plenty of grip in the corners, we weren't out braking our tyres or out tiring our brakes, which is actually a thing. If your brakes are better than your tyres by a long way, you'll lock up. If your tyres are better than your brakes by a long way, you'll push through your brakes. So I think we had a perfect combo in the car to easily win the event. But as you would have seen, we had that issue with the voltage drop. We can't explain it. We've got one wire coming straight off our battery, straight to the fuse box to provide power to all the fuses and relays, which then provide power to the car. And when you put the jump box on there, the car fires up immediately, right away. It's really, really nice. Starts straight up, no issues with the starter motor or anything else. The car manages to run the whole hour session on its alternator. It's providing the charge it needs back to itself. But as soon as we try and start the car off the battery, there's an issue. Now, we know that the battery has more than 12 volts and is fully charged. We tested that. We just don't know what the issue was. So there's going to be a working beat coming up soon on that to try and figure out what the issue is. We're going to start by replacing the battery cable and see if that's our issue, and check the continuity of that. But like I always say, I suck at wiring, so we'll leave that to the other boys in the team. I also feel that there is a few kilos we can still take out of the car and possibly even ditch the dash completely and set up a crossbar with our tacho and all our gauges on there, and some additional gauges and all that sort of stuff. Another thing I want to do, as you'll see from the footage, you're probably getting seasick from watching it, is I have the GoPro mounted here on my helmet. I've put as low as I can because I'm quite tall, so otherwise if you look where I'm looking down over the bonnet, whereas the GoPro is looking sort of out straight. It's not good viewing, I know that. So what I'm going to do is make some kind of a bracket either from the ceiling with some suction caps or some sticky pads, so that the GoPro is mounted to the car and sits down about shoulder height, so that you guys can see what I'm doing, see the gear changes, see the dash, see out the front, and see what's going on in the races for the future. As far as winning the event, having the electrical issue put us down around about 10 laps off the pace, whereas before we were at number 1, we dropped to position 10. We sent John out. John was then able to get back a couple of laps, but he also went a bit too fast. He had a timing issue, and he actually penalised himself a few laps going under the time, so we dropped back to, I think, last place. Simple mistake. Then we had Alex in the car, who is a new member of the team coming out for a drive. So we, like I've mentioned before, we swap around a couple of the seats. We get some celebrity guest drivers in. Alex was one of them. After Alex, we had Chris drive. By this time, the car had done almost 3 hours worth of track time. Brake pads and everything were all fine, but Chris was experiencing some confidence issues in the car by the setup and the suspension and stuff, so he decided he'd jump out. We called that session. He finished half an hour early, and we called it there. So we lost more time. At this point, we were coming absolutely dead last. Stig jumped in, had a blast, went out felt out the car. He also was now noticing there's some kind of a issue with the car. We think we're going to have to replace possibly the clutch master cylinder, because as you guys probably know, with CL9s, they have a delay valve built into them because they're a luxury car realistically. So we might either take that out or modify that. We haven't decided yet. And put some heat sheathing over the line, because it does sort of run above the headers. So that might be an issue that we can fix. These are all the things that we're learning whilst we're building a race car and a race team, which is awesome. And I really enjoy finding new things we can fix to improve on the car that's already awesome. After Stig's go, it was Zach's turn. Zach Baldy, as you know, awesome YouTuber, good friend of mine, phenomenal driver. We sort of thought about it and we were coming absolutely dead last, even though we clearly had the quickest car, but those couple of issues put us back to dead last. We're aware of it now, and I'll get to it in a moment, but the thought for the day was, we're coming dead last, we can't possibly get any more penalties. Let's see what Rhonda can do. And Zach went out and blitzed the time by over 4 seconds and was actually disqualified, which, now that we know about those rules and why that time limit is set in place, we totally understand. We totally copped it on the chin. And on behalf of the team, and also to the organisers of the event of Tampered Motorsports, Adam and everyone else involved, all the volunteers that put on such a great event, I'm very, very deeply sorry that we went under the time. We did not realise that there's actually restrictions in place for the safety and the insurance of the track and everyone involved to go faster than 135. So now that we know that, we understand that, as you're aware, and as we demonstrated in the first half of the day when we weren't coming dead last, we were trying to stick to that 135 time. And I think it's a good time to point out that majority of the cars in the field, we have a 2-litre Pulsar SSS, we've got multiple Celica ZZRs with the 1.8 or the 2R, I don't even know what the engine's code is, but it's the 1.8 Toyota VTEC Celica. We had an XR4 Ford Fiesta, which is a 2-litre performance variant of the Ford Fiesta. And there was another couple of cars that could also do lower than the 135, and everyone got a couple of penalties each on the day. We definitely got the most, and we definitely did the wrong thing, and for that we're deeply, deeply sorry. We do want to come back and continue racing Rhonda in the budget enduro, and our goal is always to stick to that time. We know the car's faster. We are staying within all of the rules as much as we possibly can, because the rules are there for a reason, and we're not trying to go blow everyone out of the water, build the quickest car and beat everyone and podium and take everyone's glory and steal the race. For us, it's a group of work colleagues, all work together with various different experiences. Mine's more mechanical and hands-on. We've got Stig, who does suspension. We've got Chris, who's an engineer. We've got John, who does brakes, steering, all other components within the car. And we just want to put all of the skills we've learned throughout our careers to the test and just see what we can do and build a nice, competitive, fun car. Eventually, we probably will graduate to some other different series, and we'll probably even have to undo some of the things that we'll do to the car in order to fit those other series requirements and rules. For now, I can assure you we will be sticking to that 135. Yes, the car's going to get more and more improvements as we go along, and we're going to keep doing stuff to it to make it faster, but we will stick to that 135 limit. There's never any disrespect or anything like that. We weren't trying to upset anyone. We just figured we were at the end of the day. It was bottom of the ladder. We were all the way in dead last place by about 30 laps down at this stage, maybe 20, I'm not sure. We just wanted to see what the car was able to do, and yeah, it won't happen again, I assure you guys. And for anyone else that's watching this that is a competitor in the event, I think you'll know and agree, we do want to stick to the rules. We do want to stick to that time limit. As with half of the pack that can also go under 1 minute 35. I think everyone's just having a good time trying to stick to that time, which is the big challenge. The challenge, anyone can go faster or build a car for speed. Sticking to a time limit within a bracket whilst racing people, trying to stay in front is more of a challenge than anything else. Like, yeah, you could throw heaps of money at a car and go really, really fast, and I've got turbos laying around that cost me $0. I could put it on there, but there's no point. It's all about the competitiveness, trying new things. Besides the exhaust and the intake, we're just doing things with suspension and brakes and different things that we can do to make the car faster. All right, so this guy's trying to climb all over my VL. I just want you guys to know we are deeply, deeply sorry. It won't happen again. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed all of everyone's footage and some of the shenanigans. I hope you like the sound of the car. We feel like we have the best sounding car at the event. All the stickers and everything, we're just covering up the hail damage and all the rough paint and scratches and stuff all over the car. Trying to make it look like a race car. And it's just a really fun event. I had the time of my life in the car. The car was absolutely perfect. I got to drive it first, so for me it was perfect. And no complaints about anything. We love the whole event. Can't wait to do the next one, which is next month. So more Working Bees to come, more TSX mods or Accord Euros as they're called in Australia. So there'll be more mods, more how-to videos, more crazy ideas that we come up with to make the car better. But anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget, spool up, bring the boost, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.